Welcome to Arcadia, Wisconsin. This is the site of Dairyland Labs, one of their sites at least, their headquarters. Let's talk a little bit about Dairyland Labs. I'm joined by Dave Taysom. Tell them a little bit about how you got started in this, Dave. I mean,
Sure.
We've known each other forever, but the Dairyland Labs story is unique and something that you were attracted to.
Very much so. Dairyland Labs started originally as a milk testing laboratory. And at the time, AG Co-op was the largest co-op in the state, and they wanted an independent laboratory to test for butter, fat, protein, and somatic cell. And at that time in Trempealeau County, we had like 12 cheese plants. And so we started out in the milk testing business in the 60s. I joined them in the late 80s, and that was just when the new technology of near-infrared analysis was coming to the forefront, and forage testing was in its infancy at that time. And so we started that back in the late 80s and have grown ever since to where we now have 7 locations that we own here in the States. In addition, we license our NIR technology to well over 100 different entities worldwide. So
Let's help them understand your pillars, Dave. Farmers are making financial decisions based on the information that you provide. You take that seriously.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Everything is driven by milk production, right? And in order for the dairy farmer to be more profitable, they have to understand just how much milk is in their forage. And by having it tested, we can test not only the protein, but the digestibility of the fiber and some of the other constituents. A nutritionist will take that and put it into a ration, and that's how we optimize milk production. And so all those things are important to Dairyland, and having an independent lab where both sides feel like, hey, there's no reason to bias the results one way or the other. And that's the concept of an independent laboratory. We have no other revenue other than our forage test, all right? I mean, we don't have products that we sell. We don't have a consulting arm. So if somebody doesn't believe the test results or our test results don't perform in a ration, then there's no need for us. And that's why we have to bank on it. So.
Well, and that's part of the reason why you see some of the investment at Dairyland Labs behind us. Stop and think about the investment that dairy farmers make in their herds. They want that replicated in the testing information that they're receiving. Dairyland Labs takes that very seriously, so much so that we're standing in a facility that they built basically in 2016 to make sure that information that you're sending out to dairies has been replicated the way they want it.
Absolutely. Yeah, what we're measuring here with this facility is we're actually taking the rumen fluid from the animal and exposing customers' forage samples to that rumen fluid. And with that, we're able to tell them how digestible their fiber is or how digestible the protein is. And so we've replicated with these animals what actually happens in the rumen of a lactating dairy cow from that aspect.
Why did you decide to make this investment, though? I mean, there may only be 6 strong, but you have no idea how much of an ask this is for your lab to do this.
Sure, because it does help nutritionists understand the milk potential of their forage, and that's what it's all about. So that's the reason for the investment, and the investment pays off.
For sure. Now, understand the reason why Dairyland Labs has made this investment is so that they control as many elements as you can with a 4-legged animal. Explain the strategy on that.
Sure. Well, we're dealing with biological measurements, and biological measurements are inherently variable, okay? So we used to be on a commercial dairy where we had the fistulated animals, and the things that affect the variation are when you feed the animals, is the animal stage of lactation, when do they drink, what time does everybody feed them, when do you pull the rumen fluid. And while we did that for a period of years, once we realized that we need to reduce that variation, we invested in our own facilities. So now we have people that start here working at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's our people that feed them. We control the diet. We control the purchasing of all the ingredients. We control exactly when the rumen fluid is taken. And so from beginning to end, we control everything, and that's helped reduce the variation immensely. And I can honestly say in my 40 years here at Dairyland Laboratories, it's been the best investment that we ever made. So that we can control it from beginning to end, and because they're biological measurements.
Well, and it makes perfect sense to the dairy farmer or nutritionist you're working with, because everything you just cited the irregularity of when who's feeding, what's feeding, when they're feeding, that all makes a difference. Now, how would you estimate that influence the number of samples that you're doing, Dave, or the efficacy of the information that you're giving to your clients? I mean, judging by what I see as far as expansion on Dairyland Labs, people have responded.
Yeah, very much so. How do I say? The information is valuable, and when nutritionists take the information and they can make changes in the ration and there's a response in milk production, that proves the efficacy of it.
Mm-hmm.
And you only do that over time, meaning, we do it, the nutritionist gains confidence in you, then they tell somebody else and they tell somebody else. And so, when I started at Dairyland Laboratories, I think that first years in the NIR, we were in that 40 to 45,000 sample range. And this year will be well over 380,000 samples that we do worldwide.
Wow.
So, but it's a lot of it's like a lot of success stories. It's one brick at a time over a lot of years, right?
Right.
We just didn't get here over the last 5 years. It's been just like a successful dairy or any other successful business. It's incremental changes built upon itself over time. We're no different than the average dairyman. You have to take advantage of the tools that come along. You have to invest in them. Not everything pans out, but hopefully you make a few right decisions along the way.
Keeping your head on a swivel and your eyes looking forward. Dave Taysom along with us from Dairyland Labs, again, one of their locations in Arcadia, Wisconsin, where they are doing cutting edge research to make sure the information they generate for their clients literally has been cow tested.